There is nothing more distinctive in cricket than the way a West Indian bats. The style, the attitude, the sheer joie de vivre is pure Caribbean, full of laughter and sunshine. And yet, for all that, there's nothing stereotype about West Indian batsmen, the greatest of whom have had a certain individuality and a certain discipline too, because without discipline, we would never have had Challoner and Headley and the proliferation of great players who followed in their footsteps. West Indian batsmanship is, above all else, an art aggressively and joyfully expressed, and it's never been more joyfully expressed than by Rohan Kanhai and Gary Sobers, the greats of the 1960s, and by their recent dashing descendants, Clive Lloyd, Gordon Greenidge, Vivian Richards. Kanhai, of East Indian descent, sharp of eye and reflexes, scorer of over 6,000 runs and 15 centuries in his 79 tests, the complete batsman against all types of bowling in all types of conditions. Sobers, 4 cricketers in one, but batsman supreme first. 8,032 runs in his 93 test, the world record test score of 365 not out numbered among his 26 centuries. Utterly dominant, yet utterly dependable too.
When you're learning to bat, the grip is very, very important, because there are various ways in which one can grip the bat. For instance, if one grips the bat where the bottom hand is too far under, it means that one would play a lot of onside shots, play to the onside, because of the bottom hand too far around. The top hand is too far around the bat. You have a similar occurrence where you find that the batsman is inclined to play again to the onside because it's very difficult to play through the offside. Now, my explanation of a proper grip is to make sure that the bottom hand is an inch away from the handle of the bat, where the blade finishes, an inch away from there, about a half an inch between the two hands, and an inch from the top. The V on the top hand runs towards the left shoulder. The top hand being the right hand for a left-handed batsman. The left hand is the bottom hand, and you'll find that the V runs to the right hand shoulder. And having done all of those things, you will find that you have a fairly correct grip. There's also 2 other ways of trying to secure a proper grip, and I find that this one that you're about to see is probably one of the easiest ways of making sure that your grip is close, very close to being correct, and that is by getting some person, whether one of your colleagues, member of your team, or whoever it may be, to pass the bat to you, and you take it in this fashion. Natural way of taking a bat with both hands if somebody passed something to you. Then you find that you'll put it down into your stance, and you find you have a very, very slight adjustment, if any adjustment at all. The other way is that you can put the bat between you, between your legs. And this is one of the ways that you've seen so often throughout the world. And you bend down over the bat and you pick it up with both hands. And I find that with that one, you can see the top hand is very far around. You have to make a very big adjustment to get the top hand into the proper position. You find the bottom hand gets into the proper position, but the top hand, you have to move it around. Where with the other one, you find that when the bat is being passed to you, you find that your hands fall into place quite easily. When taking your stance, make sure that your feet is at least 2, 3 or 4 inches apart. Make sure that the weight is evenly distributed down the center. Do not have too much weight on the back foot, because if you have too much weight on the back foot, it means that when you go to play a back foot shot, you'll find it very difficult to take your back foot back without transferring the weight onto the front foot first and then having to move your back foot. By that time, you lose precious time. Similar occurrence if you're playing off the front foot. You find that you will have then to transfer the weight back to the back foot and then onto the front foot to get your front foot moving to the pitch of the ball. So do make sure that you have that even balance where the weight is evenly distributed on both feet. Then you put your bat just behind the back foot, close to the toes. Well, some Australians, as we know, bat with their feet wider apart and they have the bat between their legs. But West Indians, English players, and most other players throughout the world, particularly West Indians, you'll find that nearly all West Indians bat with the bat behind their back foot, very close to their toes, and not with the bat sticking out in front of you like that. So this is your stance, foot slightly apart, 3 to 4 inches, bat behind the back toe, head turned, looking inside the lead-in shoulder and watching the bowler as he runs up and looking at that ball in his hand. Knees slightly flexed, not with your knees straight, slightly flexed, and you find that that brings you into a very comfortable position and keeping your head very, very still.
Now let's watch two of the greatest batsmen the game has ever known demonstrate their special ways of playing several of the basic strokes in the game. First, the left-handed Sir Gary Sobers, playing forward in defence, the most used stroke in the game. Employed against the ball of good length, the front leg is stretched well forward, the bat coming down in line with the ball, head and eyes down, body well forward. The bat, controlled mainly by the top hand, is held at an angle to keep the ball down. The cover drive is an attacking stroke, played to the half volley, pitched wide of off stump. The front leg comes out to the pitch of the ball, the stroke made with a full flow and follow-through of the bat, head over the ball to keep it along the ground. The on drive is played to a half volley pitched on or just outside the leg stump. Sir Gary comes out on his front foot, driving through mid-on, with head well over the ball, body opening up on completion of the stroke. The square cut is used against the ball short of a good length, pitched wide of off stump and bouncing over the height of the stumps. Sir Gary carries his back foot across to the line of the ball, bringing the bat downwards at moment of contact, with wrists rolling over to keep the ball down. The late cut is similar to the square cut, the difference being that the bounce of the ball is slightly lower and the shot is delayed a fraction longer. The pull, played to a short ball bouncing waist height in line with the body. The left foot is back and across, and the bat comes down hard and across to give power to the stroke. Wrists rolled to keep the ball down in the mid-wicket region. And now for a few choice Sobers strokes from the last of his 26 Test centuries.
That's found the gap there, and this is going to be his 150. As a matter of fact, it's going to be 4 runs. Oliveira couldn't cut it off. Square drive, 4 runs. Magnificent shot. Dropped that short. He was onto it so quickly. Hooked it away past mid-wicket. Still managing to get a hand. And a beautiful, magnificent square cut. Dropped short again. He was onto this like a flash. Found this gap, and this is the hallmark, the test of such a great player, to find the